video, I want to say aloha to Eric from Hawaii. Thank you for watching our channel. Thank you to Truth Inspire and our new subscriber, Lakeisha Fitzpatrick. Go ahead and make sure you take notes, or if not, y'all can always come back to the replay of this video. So go ahead and make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel to make sure you're notified of more videos just like this. All right, so let's get into it, right? The first law that I want to speak about is going to be Title 28 USC 3002. You guys may have seen me talk about this particular law on my Instagram pages before. If you guys are following me on my Instagram pages, then you have seen me speak about the definition of the definitions of 28 USC 3002, right? So I pulled it up for you here on my screen. Title 28 USC 3002. If we scroll all the way down to number 15, we will see here that the United States is defined as a federal corporation, right? So the United States is not a country. It's actually a federal corporation. So what happened in 1933, the United States became a federal corporation, and before 1933, everything was backed by gold. In the Bankruptcy Act of 1933, they asked all of our ancestors to turn in all their gold and silver in exchange for all of our household primary bills to be covered, right? So essentially every debt that the American people incur is the responsibility of the United States. Within this same title or subsection, right, if we scroll back up to number 3, they actually tell us what the meaning of debt is, right? So they said, or it reads that debt means an amount that is owing to the United States on account of a direct loan or a loan insured or guaranteed by the United States. Excuse me. So they're letting you know here that debt means it's an amount that is owing to the United States on the account of a direct loan or loan insured or guaranteed by the United States. So again, the American people, when they incur debt, it is the responsibility of the United States, right? So everything we buy is the responsibility of the United States. Now, to track all of our debts, in 1939, the government created the Social Security number, what we now know to be the Social Security number is they use it for identification purposes, but the government actually created the Social Security number to take into account what accounts need to be set off against your Social Security number. And that's also why they made the Treasury, right? So they decided to keep all of this information from the American people, but because it's law, they decided to put it in the book. Now they know that the American people are not really going to read a book. Now there are tons and tons and tons of books out there, so you guys do your research. In a later video, I'll go over a few of them, but for now, that'll be a different subject, right? So the United States Code is a reinforcement law, right? And that's your USC law. So those are your reinforcement laws. Everything that we buy, such as any of our household primary goods, light bills, car bills, water notes, everything is already paid for, which is why they are always already in a positive status. So I know that you guys have seen me post about that on my Instagram. If you haven't, you guys can go ahead and check out my Instagram at Siditi Cream. That's the at symbol Siditi SIDTY Cream CREAM on Instagram, right? So I've spoken about this before. So all of your bills come in a positive status. That's because you actually don't owe them and they're already paid for. It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. It doesn't say negative. It says positive. It's already paid for. So when the United States took away the gold and back money, they took away our ability to legally pay with money, right? Money essentially has no value to it. It's a dead note. You can't pay a debt with a debt, which is why when you pay a bill, they're going to either ask you for your credit card, your debit card, or a money order. Those are considered legal instruments, right? So the way it was that way it's set up under your Social Security number. Again, all of it comes full circle back to the United States being a corporation, the debt being defined as any amount owing to the United States. So that's first things first, right? So let's get back over here. I skipped through most of this. So if I'm going to pull this website up for you guys really quickly. The GMEI Utility. If you visit this website, GMEI Utility, I believe it's .gov, but let me double check before I say it. That's why I'm trying to pull up all the resources for you guys can see it for yourself. GMEI, utility.org. So if you pull up GMEI utility.org, what you can do here is search all of the foreign accounts the government has under your Social Security number. So you would need to go ahead and make a account here and register. So you'll register here in the top right and put your information in, and it'll show you, and you can search all of the foreign accounts that's under your Social Security number. And let me see here. Now, if we go to this law, which is 16 CFR 433.2, I'm going to pull this one up for you guys. This is the preservation of consumers' claims in defenses of unfair or deceptive acts or practices, right? So on your car contract, if you go on your contract in the notice section of your car contract, I don't know why I keep trying to say I'm so sorry. So if you go to the notice section of your car contract, that's a tongue twister, right? What you want to see is if your car contract contains these notices, right? So if your car contract does not contain these notices, that means that it's not a binding contract. So without these notices, your car contract is not a binding contract. So anytime you're dealing with the law, you want to know the definitions, and want to know what their meanings are. So I'm showing you the CFR laws. So if you guys don't know what the CFR laws is, the CFR stands for Coded Federal Registry, right? They're always going to give you the definition under any law in the code first to show you what they mean. As natural people and as natural people and consumers and not U.S. citizens, you saw earlier that you cannot be a citizen of a corporation. The United States is only 10 square miles around the District of Columbia. That's it. So if you go to Title 18 USC 911, I put it here on this, I guess, PowerPoint, right? So if you go to Title 18 USC 911, it will tell you that it's a federal crime to say that you are a U.S. citizen and you're not. It says, there we go. So it says 3 years in jail or $10,000 fine. So essentially, wherever state you're from, that's what you are. That's what you are. You're not a citizen. So I'm from Florida, so I will be a Floridian, right? A consumer means any natural person who seeks or acquires goods or services for family or household use. That's what a consumer is. People have been taught, or they studied consumers to be something else than what it was. Something else than what it was meant to mean, right? A consumer only means that you're a natural person and that you're seeking to acquire goods or services for family, personal, or household use. So the Bankrupt Act of 1933 stated that they are responsible for all of the American people household primary goods, which is everything that they are responsible for. So as a consumer, you are seeking to acquire goods or services for personal, family, or household use. And then the Bankrupt Act of 1933 stated that they're going to be responsible for all of the American people's primary household goods, right? Don't overcomplicate things. Again, my thing is to try to break it down to you in an easy way for you guys to understand. So when you are identifying and doing credit transactions, you are identifying as a consumer, which the credit is, well, how am I trying to say this? So essentially, when you guys were born, your mother gave you to the state, which is why everything that we do is the United States responsibility. So let me go back to my PowerPoint here. If we can see the 16 CFR, the next law, 16 CFR 4331, this is how it defines creditor, how I was just speaking earlier, right? So defines a creditor as a person who, in the ordinary course of business, lends, purchase money, or finances for the sale of goods, services of consumers on a deferred payment basis, provided such person is not acting for the purpose of a particular transaction in the capacity of a card issuer. Now, in order for you to assert your rights under Title 15, which is the FDCPA, FCRA, you must be the debtor and not the creditor, right? So when you think of it, when you think about it, if the United States is going to be responsible for all of the American people's debts, right? They're going to be responsible for all of our debts, how we just explained it. Do you want to be a creditor or a debtor, right? So there's defining a creditor as being a person who, in the ordinary course of business, lends, purchase money, or finances, right? So it doesn't say that as a creditor of the United States that they are responsible for your bills. They're stating that as a consumer of the United States, you know, all your bills are the responsibility of the United States. So under Title 15, you want to be a debtor and not a creditor. So let me know in the comments if that makes sense to you, or if you would like for me to reword it in another way. Not asking you guys to go into the comments and let's have a whole coaching session. Just if you guys understood that, or should we reword it in another way, right? So as a consumer, we can wear many hats, right? When it comes to Title 15, again, you're not the creditor. This is what they define creditor as. You're not the creditor under Title 15. You want to be the debtor. Now, promissory notes are to be endorsed, and that is being in the business of a debtor. None of us fit the role of a creditor when we are asserting our rights. So let me pull up 16 CFR. I'm supposed to already have this pulled up. Let me go ahead and pull it up and get this on the screen. So what I was just reading here from the PowerPoint was this portion here of 16 CFR 433.1, right? It states here the creditor is a person, you know, you guys, I just read that, right? So it says a creditor is a person who lends purchase money loans, right? So you're probably wondering, what is a purchase money loan? So a purchase money loan, pursuant to the federal law, is a cash advance in which is received by a consumer in return for a finance charge within the meaning of the Truth in Lending Act and Regulation Z, which is applied in whole or substantial to a purchase of goods or service from a seller who refers consumers to the creditor and is affiliated by the creditor by common control contract or business arrangements, right? So it's saying that a cash advance is received by the consumers in return for a finance charge within the meaning of the Truth in Lending Act. Since banks cannot loan money or credit under Regulation Z, and if the bank can't loan money or give you credit, what did they really give you? They didn't give you anything. So let's break it down a little bit further, right? Let's talk about a dealership purchase right quick. So this is essentially how the dealership purchase goes, right? I should have put a car on the screen. It's too late for that. Okay, anyways. So this is how a dealership purchase goes, right? So when you go to the dealership to get a car, they're going to go in the back, they're going to run your credit, and they're going to come up with some numbers. They're going to take your application to the finance manager in the back. So you notice they always go in the back. Have you ever realized like how long it takes for you to actually get a car? It's normally an all day thing. So you go in to get a car, you spend hours at the dealership. That's because they are doing two transactions while you're there. So consumers are natural people. We get that, right? So everything else is a corporation. So you as a consumer, you are a natural person, and you can't actually speak to a corporation. Corporations can't speak at all. So they can only speak corporation to corporation. So only a corporation can do business with a corporation. Your entire life is a consumer credit transaction. Now, when they went in the back, what they asked for was a negotiable instrument from the finance company, which is a check. So say, for instance, that they went to the back and asked for a negotiable instrument, which is the check. and they wanted to lend you, get your car loan for $75,000, right? So the finance company asks, what can you give me for collateral, say for Miss Jones? She's getting a car for $55,000, but at the finance charges, it's going to be about $75,000. So the promissory note you signed actually sealed the deal for the car dealership to receive that negotiable instrument, which was your check. All of our personal information is being sold internationally, and they are making millions of dollars, which is why y'all want to check the GMEI Utility to see what type of foreign accounts are in your name or under your social security number. They are only able to steal the deal from consumers because only the living person can do living transactions. You're supposed to get a check in your title. You're supposed to get a check in title to your car free and clear. That's a purchase money loan, right? Brings it back to that's a purchase money loan. Same thing goes when you buy a house. You're supposed to get the check for the amount of the money in the deed. They were only supposed to put the lien because you bought it with a legal instrument. Anything you do involving a credit sale is paid for at the time that you signed for it, right? So if they ran your credit, that's a credit sale, and they have to follow the rules under the Truth in Lending Act, right? So let's talk about open-ended transaction. So say, for instance, with Capital One, if you had a credit card, Capital One would be, they're supposed to have you, or I don't want to say lend, right? So let me put it like this. So if you have a credit card with Capital One, it's supposed to be open-ended, which means that you're supposed to use it as much as you want. They're not supposed to decline it. It's supposed to recharge at the end of the month. The next month you do it again. All of our credit is supposed to be like that. So every credit card that you have, or every credit card that you've ever been approved for, is supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be open-ended. That means, again, you're supposed to be able to use it as much as you want. It's never supposed to decline. At the end of the month, it's supposed to charge it off, and you do it again the next month. That's what an open-ended transaction is. So all of your transactions, again, are supposed to be like that. Not transactions, all of your credit cards are supposed to be open-ended. So when we talk about down payments, right? So when we talk about down payments being illegal, for a consumer credit transaction, the reason why the promissory note paid for the transaction in full is because, hold on, I have my son, my son just walked in the room. Okay, so down payments being illegal, right? So down payments are illegal for a consumer credit transaction. The reason why is because the promissory note paid for the transaction in full. So again, why are you putting down a down payment? So if your consumer credit transaction, which we spoke about earlier, if it paid for the transaction in full, why are you putting down a down payment? If you gave them a down payment, or any down payment for that matter, you have actually satisfied their debt in full, because they weren't supposed to take it. Period, point blank. They were not supposed to take a down payment from you at all. Now, if you go into a dealership, like, if you go into a dealership, or I'm not going to say dealership, if you go into the bank and you get a car loan for your car, so if you go and get pre-approved for a car at the bank, they're not going to ask you for a down payment. They're going to give you the check to go and purchase the car. They're not going to ask you for a down payment. Why? Because it was already paid in full. You already had that check. It's essentially the same thing with a dealership. Down payments are illegal. Now, some of these crooks will try to tell you that, you know, they're exempt. This doesn't apply to them. We don't have to follow those rules. We're not under, those laws. You just simply hit them with 16 CFR 433.3. What this says is that anybody who actually, or any sellers who actually wrote a contract after November 1st, 1977 are not exempt. The only sellers that are exempt is if that consumer credit transaction was written prior to November 1st, 1977. So they definitely have to abide by these laws. Only if it was written after that date are they exempt. Other than that, they have to abide by the CFRs. Now, when Congress created the United States Codes, Title 15, what they saw was that these corporations were violating 16 CFR 433. period. So they went in and they enacted the United States Code, Title 15. So they saw that the laws were being broken, so they went in and enacted the United States Code. When you guys are communicating with these credit reporting agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, who is the other one? TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, right? So you want to know that these are not credit bureaus. Excuse me, the only credit bureau is going to be the CFPB. They are the most powerful weapon when it comes to the law. So you guys keep that in mind. So I'm going to pick up on another section of this video later. I hope you guys were able to get enough information in this very short time. I was able to pre-record this for you all. I promise to come back with another video. I don't know when. I'm not going to make any promises or mentions, but let me know down in the comments which portion of the law did you find most helpful from this video, and I will see you guys in the next upload.